Today, I want to talk about play. So to start everything out, I want everybody to just play a game with me for a second. And some of you who have spent time with me in the past are pretty familiar with this game. We're going to do the So Happies, which is why that song was so perfect, because everybody already is feeling so happy. So obviously, sorry, the objective of the game is to feel so happy. The rules of the game are when I say, how happy are you? You go, so happy. And then finally, in order to feel really, truly, incredibly happy, I need you to commit with all of your heart. And I need you to take this really seriously right now. So I want to start and begin. And I want, so is everybody ready? All right. How happy are you? So happy! How happy are you? So happy! How happy? So happy! All right, fantastic. Hopefully you guys are feeling so happy and everything like that. So today we're going to talk about play. And I want to start off by just illustrating that almost every creature on the planet, I researched this, mammals, reptiles, birds, even insects, they all play. They play to make themselves happy and other people happy and other creatures happy. They play to improve their skills to, live to, sorry, one second. Yeah, they play to improve their skills to deal with the drama of life that inevitably unfolds, right? And they get to play when they're not stressed. Every animal, when they're decreased in stress, they play, right? So who says that the play must stop, right? People say, oh, we got to take things really seriously, right? And I agree, there are things that we need to take really seriously. But what are those things? And is play not serious? And for that question, I want you to think about the last time you had a tea party with a toddler, a princess tea party. It was a pretty serious affair if you let it be that. It can be very serious. And the fact of the matter is, it's only really fun if you do take it seriously. If you really invest in the circumstances and tune into the fact that the rabbit doesn't like his tea too hot or too cold, he likes it just right. And when you can commit to that, that's when things start to get really fun. So today, I'm going to help you enter into the play paradigm to bring a little bit more fun into your life, into a state of consciousness that transcends fear, imbues creativity, and helps us find joy in every moment. But first, I want to just tell you a little bit about my journey when it comes to play. So the person that has made me into the man that I am today, the person that has had the greatest influence in who I am, is my mother. Now, mothers in general are extraordinary. They're extraordinary. But my mother is truly extraordinary, because not only was she sweet and kind and loving, but she also had this crazy gift where she was able to channel Archangel Raphael for years. So as soon as I was born, I was able to get a channeling session and tune in to Archangel Raphael. So with the combination of Archangel Raphael's wisdom, my mother's kindness, and my wild spirit, I had an amazing childhood. And I fostered this connection with spirit through play. I played with Native American spirits in the forest when I was young. I connected to the trees and talked to the animals. I played pretend with my friends, and I used my imagination to its fullest capacity. I was just overflowing with joy and creativity, and I actually loved playing so much that I went to college for it. I went to college to be an actor. And while I did that, I learned clowning and I learned improv. And basically, I learned these structured, formulated ways to integrate play into what I was doing. And I played every day until my girlfriend of 3 years broke up with me. And after that happened, I was a wreck. I didn't really feel like playing anymore. I felt like I needed to be serious, that I needed to be a man, that I needed to show her and the world who I was and how great I was. And most of all, I felt like I needed to kind of show myself. And so when I graduated college, I ditched the play, I ditched the acting, and I got hired to manage a business portfolio for a top executive at one of the big accounting firms. And this job was really tough. You know, I was managing laundromats, I was, you know, renovating apartments, I was managing his apps, I was opening up a Japanese restaurant, I was doing all of these things that could have been really fun, but because I was tying my identity to it and my self-worth to it, it became a miserable affair, and I became stressed out, and this stress contorted who I was as a person, right? I became desensitized, I became hostile and angry, and I wasn't taking care of my body or my relationships. And it went so far that one evening at Christmas Eve, I was just a miserable person. And my mom came up to me and she started crying, and she's like, I don't see my little boy anymore. I don't know where he's gone. And at the moment I was like, oh, you know, enough. But really that started to get the wheels spinning of, what was I doing? What was going on? What was my objective? What rules was I playing by, if any? What was I doing in this job? And I realized that the thing that was keeping me there was fear. I was afraid. I was afraid of what people would think of me if I quit. I was afraid that I was a fraud. I was afraid that I couldn't be successful. I was afraid I was unlovable. I was afraid that I was worthless. And I was trapped in this illusion of fear that I needed to do certain things or have certain things in order for me to be worth something. So how did I escape this storm cloud of fear? Well, I faced it. I quit my job and I went into the woods with no screens, no contact to anybody. And I just tried to rediscover who I was. I just set that intention of like, show me who I am again. And at first I slept. I slept a lot, just all day. And eventually my nervous system started to calm down again. And I found this sense of calm. And my true nature came out again. And I started to play. I started to do things in silly ways. I started to imagine things on my hikes in the woods. And I got inspired to write scripts. I got inspired to figure out what it was that had happened to me that had allowed me to come back into reality. And what it was play. And so what is play, right? What is play at the end of the day? For me, I define play as creative experimentation to discover who I am and what the world is from the inside out rather than from the outside in. And so what do I mean by that? So much in our lives we allow to be defined by external circumstances. We have people telling us, well, in order to be successful, in order to be worth something, you need to have a job that pays this much money. You need to have a beautiful family. You need to have a house. You need to have this and that and the other thing. And if you have all those things, you know, you are worth something. And if you don't, you're kind of a loser, right? That's kind of the messaging that we get from the TV, that we get from our family and our school and all these different things. And they don't mean any harm by it. It's just kind of the game that we've been playing. So instead of letting people tell us what we need in order to be worth something, how do we discover what that is from the inside out? It's playing. We go and, you know, we climb the tree and we see what it's like to be at the top of the tree, and we learn how capable we are. Or we touch the stove and it burns our fingers and we figure out, you know what? We don't want to touch the stove anymore. And when we play and creatively experiment, we learn to trust ourselves, to develop a sense of confidence because we know firsthand what the deal is. Compared to people telling us things, we just have to trust what they have to say. And we're completely and utterly dependent on external factors that are completely out of our control. So how do we start to get the play back into our lives? Well, I asked myself this question, and what I found is, what is play? Oftentimes we're playing a game, right? we're playing some sort of game. And so if I was going to learn a new game, how to play with life again, and say people were playing a game, like they were all sitting down and they were playing cards, how would I approach joining them in their play? Well, the first question I would ask is, so what's the objective of this game? Right? What's the objective? Then I would ask, what are the rules? What's my role in the game? And how do you win? And then once I figured out all of those things, I would commit to playing the game so that I could have fun, which is feeling uninhibited now. I would surrender into the moment. I'd feel uninhibited and I'd be present, just trusting how I feel, experiencing life. So what is the big game that we're playing as human beings? Well, I was thinking and I realized that the word play in our language is writing a script, playing characters, and creating a drama that unfolds that might inspire people to experience life in a new way. And I think that is what we do uniquely as humans, because every animal plays in a way that serves their purpose here on the planet. Lions, pounce on each other, and squirrels run around and dig holes, and kangaroos pretend to box. What do we do as humans? We create stories, we act in them, and we play. And that's what we're doing every day. And so if we can remember that that's what we're doing in our life in every moment, we're playing some sort of script, we're playing some certain role, and we're allowing a drama to unfold for the universe to experience itself through us in a way, then we can start to really surrender and have some fun to it. Now, the thing is, if we're participating in this play, it's much more fun to do it consciously than unconsciously, right? Right? It's always more fun to do things consciously, because when you think about it, play where you don't know the objective, you don't know the rules, you don't know your role in it. If someone starts playing with you like that, if everybody starts playing hide and seek and you're the seeker and nobody told you that you're playing hide and seek, that's kind of bullying, right? You're unconsciously playing a game and you don't even know how to go about it. And sometimes if you don't know how to play the game, you might just sit there and give up and think, everybody ran away from me, nobody likes me. But if you know that you're playing hide and go seek, then you can start to go and find everybody and play, and then discover all of them and have them help you, and it can be a lot of fun. So what I'm saying is, let's become conscious of the game that we are actually participating in life. And so I want you to first ask yourself, what is your objective in life, right? What people always ask, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? How am I here to serve? And really, it's your objective. And when I thought about it, about what is really important, what we really want to be creating in life, what is our objective, I realized that it's spreading joy, being joy, and creating joy. And if you follow the joy, then you're probably serving your objective, whatever that is. So the question is, how do we find joy in our life, right? Where did the joy go? And I realized from the moments that I studied of myself being really joyful, what had created that joy was the possibility of newness, of something that could be new, whether that was discovering a new possibility or finding something new in something old that I'd seen a million times, like looking at my hand and seeing it in a totally and utterly different way. Because it reminded me that life is infinite and it's constantly expanding, and that there's room for me to be surprised by things. But oftentimes we limit newness in our lives with our old stories, right? That we can't trust anybody with our emotions because we always get rejected, or that, people are mean, or that my job sucks, or that I can never get ahead in things and I can't get stuck. These are patterns where we're predicting what life will be, and we're running them over and over and over again, leaving no room for newness because we already assume what life is going to be like. And so to create more newness in our life, what we have to do is to let go of some of those old patternings that come from, those denser vibrations of fear and anger and guilt and shame, and we have to open up to the possibility of newness. And the way that we do that is by getting a little bit curious. So how do we bring curiosity into our life? What is a practical tool to integrate this curiosity? Well, what I discovered as a practical tool for curiosity is asking ourselves the question, what if? When we ask ourselves the question, what if, we're inviting in all kinds of newness, right? What if I showed up to work and my boss was super nice and gave me a promotion, right? Instead of assuming, oh, he's just going to yell at me and it's going to be a miserable affair. What if my spouse decided to really listen to me today? What if all of a sudden $1 million just showed up in my bank account? What if, right? And it gets us to be curious and to open up to the possibilities of newness, of what could happen. What is possible? What can we do? And so in terms of finding our joy and in terms of serving our objective, if we get curious of where our joy is and start to follow our curiosity towards the joy, we'll end up living that objective. So the next question in terms of playing the game of life is, what are the rules? So what are the rules for us? Those are the rules that we're going to determine for ourselves based off of our values and our integrity. What rules are we going to play life by in order to achieve our objective? And how can we get creative within that framework of rules to achieve our objective? And so in terms of, rules, you much rather be, somebody who has a code, like a knight that fights with dignity and honor, rather than the Joker who's just open to chaos and everything unfolding. It's important to have those rules, those values, those things that you do no matter what in order to keep the game going. Because if we don't have rules to play the game by, all chaos ensues and you can't build momentum in the game. Say you're playing basketball and you had agreed that the rule was that you needed to dribble in order to move, and people just start traveling and you don't hold them accountable to the rules, then the game just turns into chaos, right? So we need to have rules for ourselves, and we need to agree on rules with each other in order to play this beautiful game of life. And so a technique that I like to use in order to create proper rules with the people that I'm playing this game with is I do a little bit of yes-anding. Now, yes-and is one of the first rules of improv in terms of creating a world, in terms of creating a place where we can play together, right? We say yes and to people's rules, because when we do that, we expand the scene, we agree upon something that we can interact in, and we can really start to have fun because we have a structure that contains our fun. Now, the thing that people do a lot of the times that limits our ability to have fun, to let go and surrender to the rules of the game so that we can go out and achieve the objective is people know but. So if you're interacting with somebody and they say, and you're like, hey, we're in Guatemala. And they say, no, but we're in Mexico. Now, there's no agreement, and you can't build a world together that you agree upon. You get stuck. But if we yes and, we can continue to build on top of that world, right? And so we achieve our objective, we get clear on what our rules are, we get clear on what our role is in the game based off of our objective. And then I think something that's really important and that I was missing when I was in that job is defining what winning means to us. What is winning the game to you? Is that experiencing infinite amount of joy and love? Is that being connected with people? Is that, what is winning for you? Because if you don't know what winning is for you, then you never know if you won the game or not, right? And so we're playing that game. And finally, what we really want to do when we kind of figure out what our objective is, what the rules are, the role that we're playing, is we need to commit to the game. We need to commit and take it seriously and just dive in full force. So what stops us from playing, from committing to playing the game? It's a fear of failure. We're afraid to fail. And why are we afraid to fail? We're afraid to fail because what will people think of us, right? What will all those external things say about who we are? Well, if we define ourselves from the inside out, then failure is just a tool to get us a little bit closer to figuring out how to win the game, right? If you're making a play and you're in rehearsal and you do the scene and it doesn't really work, that is a beautiful opportunity to re-script the scene, to restage the blocking, and then do it again so it flows and it's even more beautiful than you could imagine. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, let's start to play. Let's let go of the stress so that we can move into the play zone, so that we can feel uninhibited now. And let's define what that game is for us, how we win it, what the rules are, what we're playing. And as we start to play our game and integrate into the play paradigm, we have a ripple effect, and people will start to agree to our rules rather than us agreeing to other rules. And together, we can change the whole game that humanity is playing as a collective consciousness. And so my question for you is, are you ready to play?